Free throw, no good. Livingston kicked to Blatt. Back it out top, and he's thrown over the head of Williams. In a backcourt, the three at the buzzer won't go. Maybe a goaltend at the horn, but wait, there's a lot of stuff here to sort out.
I've decided these playoffs have just become the nightmare for play-by-play announcers. The end of game plays, you have no idea what's actually happened until you go to the review. Another night in the books of the NBA. I tried to cheat on her, but she wouldn't let me. It's all coming up on this edition of Tip-Off. Pow, 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 pow. Hope you're good. I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider, and we've got a little breaking news that has just come across as I was preparing to launch the show. Nuno Sa is a longtime tip-off listener and joiner who you've seen on the bottom screen, I think, a few times, has just tweeted out that Ettore Messina has announced that he will be leaving his Moscow team and will become either a sabbatical or an NBA coach. This is the day after the Lakers don't come to an agreement with D'Antoni. He very well may become the next Laker coach. He's been mentioned around the Utah Jazz, predominantly because the Utah Jazz was the first major opening that's being talked about. So lots of kind of interesting development there, that Messina is definitely kind of announcing that he is ready to come to the United States, that this is his time to make that move. That just came across the wire. It's in a European paper that if it weren't for Nuno, we wouldn't be able to read it. I probably could translate the paragraph due to Google, but that's the story out of there. So keep an eye on that. So Messina announcing that he'll be leaving his Moscow club and that he will be either sabbaticaling for a year or to try out the NBA. And again, and we'll talk about actually our candidate today is going to be another European possibility. So we'll have that coming up for you. But again, the issue, there's a lot of issues actually here on some of these European coaches. And one I would touch on, Messina, that we haven't talked about is, particularly if you're the Utah Jazz, is what happens if he doesn't like it here, right? So he's a European through and through. His wife is a European through and through. It's a huge culture shock. They've been living in our specific case, they've been living in major cities. What happens if he comes to the U.S. and a year or two into the gig, or even a year into the gig, he's unhappy, he doesn't like it, it's not a good fit? Then all of a sudden you're in this process all over again. The other issue that I know people are very concerned with, and you'll see this when I profiled David Blatt later today on the show, is that the concern that these guys will not understand how you manage an 82-game schedule and what Game 53 in Milwaukee really is all about, and how that's different than the truncated European schedules of the various tournaments and the various leagues with a shorter amount of games, and the way they do things there is so dramatically different than what we do here in the United States. So that's the major concern there. Lakers' job is open. That was the big story late last night. And then Magic Johnson, I thought this was stunning, and revealed the incredible dysfunction that it was going on with the Lakers. And I don't think when I went to bed last night, he had not deleted it. But he had, happy days are here again. Mike D'Antoni resigns as the Laker coach. I couldn't be happier. From Magic Johnson. That's a pretty big blow right there, and a bit stunning. You could feel that way, but usually you don't see somebody make that comment in that fashion. So I thought that was pretty telling, just on the level of dysfunction and lack of support in that Laker organization. And that Laker organization at this point is simply dysfunctional. With the younger Buss in charge, and it's going to, it shows us probably a tip of the hat a little bit locally on how well we've transitioned out of Larry into Greg. We're definitely doing things differently, but it's not been, and into Steve now as the president, it has not been this kind of unraveling that the Lakers have had so far. On the floor last night, you have Toronto almost blowing a mammoth lead to Brooklyn, 115-113. And it's an interesting one because everybody's talking about, well, Brooklyn has all this experience, yet Pierce and Garnett were on the bench for the end of that one. Brooklyn ends the game playing Anderson and Teletovic on the floor with Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, and Mason Plumlee for part of it, Sean Livingston for a little bit. Very unusual. Paul Pierce left the game for a while. Joe Johnson had 30 and was brilliant, but very kind of bizarre lineup use there by Brooklyn, and it worked. I mean, if you look at they played the lineup of Darren Teletovic, Joe Johnson, Andre Blatt, and Alan Anderson 12 minutes, and they were plus 22. It certainly worked. More so than any other lineup. The second most used was Marcus Thornton with Sean Livingston, Teletovic, Plumlee, and Joe Johnson. So that's where Brooklyn stands right now and how they're using their personnel. The other one, did anyone notice? It did get highlighted in the broadcast a little bit, but not as much as I thought, that Jonas Valanciunas came very close to making one of the stupidest plays in the history of the NBA. And let me see if I'm going to see if I can find it. If you haven't already seen it, it's the final play of the game. It's a very bizarre turnabouts. Blatt misses a free throw. And I'm not sure whether this is going to show or not. I did not preview check it. So I'm going to hope that I hit this right for you in an early screen share to today's program. But so Blatt ends up missing the second free throw. A foul was called. It's not loading up the way it's supposed to. Let's see what happens if we go here. I may not have the screen share capability this morning. I even restarted it. Oh, here we go.
Shooter, the big man at 74.
All right, I love Kevin Clapper, but I got to turn it around. So Blatt misses the free throw here. I wish I could make it bigger for you. He makes the first. He's going to miss the second. He panics, not remembering now that at this point it's a 2-point game, and they could tie it with a 2. He panics here and doesn't do the right thing when he misses the free throw because he ends up getting his own rebound. If you watch, what's going to happen is he's going to throw it into the backcourt. Darren Williams would grab it. It turns out to be a backcourt violation, but if you see Scott Foster in your video, which you may not be able to, because actually, I'm going to take 1 second here and see if I can get the full video of this. For you, because I think seeing the whole screen actually is going to matter. All right, it's buffering, it's working. So Blatt makes the first. It's 115-112. He makes the first free throw to make it 115-113. Now with 4.9 seconds left, he's going to miss the next free throw. I don't think intentionally. They're going to get the rebound. He panics and throws it back up top to Darren. It goes over Darren's head into the backcourt. Darren turns around, heaves a 3 that just about went in, and Valanciunas goaltends it on what would have been a game winner. Takes me a second to get there. I don't have control of where we are in the video. So here it is, the missed free throw. Valanciunas, he throws it over. Now watch the official. There's no call for backcourt at this point. He throws up, and Valanciunas goes up. See that? Watch this again. Valanciunas here comes out, and if you watch Scott Fisher right now, there's no call right there for backcourt. He has not made it. You might assume it's backcourt, but no call has been made. Darren turns around, heaves it. It's going to count, and look at Valanciunas go up and goaltend it. Holy smokes! Had they ruled that the ball was tapped into the backcourt, Darren shot. Brooklyn wins on a 3-point three-quarter court goaltend. Craziness. Houston holds off last night, held off the Portland Trailblazers 108-98, and then San Antonio, who played brilliantly early, and then Dallas comes back, and then San Antonio regains control, does what you expect, and be interesting. I almost suspect San Antonio goes and wins their game 6 in Dallas, and then they've done exactly what you thought they would do. That's kind of how they always end up. We get worried about them, we think something's wrong, and then when it all comes down to it, they they get there. I will continue with the film study if we have time here in a second. Coaching search stuff. Okay, interesting to watch Toronto just about advance the second round, and Portland maybe advance the second round. I mean, that's Dwayne Casey and Terry Stotts, two guys that are on their second stint as head coaches. Casey was supposed to be out this year, most likely to be fired along with Ty. Stotts 2 times before, now doing a pretty good job. Though it's interesting, I heard yesterday that Stotts and McHale may not be on solid ground with where they are. It's interesting to me that, and maybe I'll take the time and build it one of these days where you sit down and find out, like, I mean, of the 100, 200 winningest head coaches, like what's the pattern? Sloan was fired first and moved on to the next job. What is it we're looking for? I think that's the most unknown thing to me here, is there does not seem to be any type of consistent pattern to success as a coach in this league that you're looking for. And what makes it even more interesting to me is, someone is hearing people take their pick. It's like, why? Like, I have no idea who I want as his head coach because I just can't see the differential between, if I knew, hey, we needed this type of background to it, that would make some sense to me. But I don't even know. I don't even know what we're looking for of how it is. We'll see. Other thing on the coaching search. So right now, and I think this is important for us to keep an eye on, Indiana, Oklahoma City, and Golden State are the three I think any coach is sitting out waiting for. As is New Orleans. We haven't heard much about, but I can't imagine Monty Williams is surviving, but maybe he's going to. So then what's the order of desire that people want? I think it goes there. I think New Orleans is number one, actually. Indiana, Oklahoma City, Golden State are one combined. New Orleans, I actually think, is two because of Anthony Davis. Three, as crazy as it is, I think is the Lakers. They're still the Lakers. New York or Minnesota 4-5, Utah, then Detroit, and then Milwaukee, which is open, but that seems to be in a holding pattern maybe with the new ownership. They have an interim coach, but we haven't heard much about that. All right, our coaching profile today is Dave Blatt. He is the head coach of Maccabi Tel Aviv. He actually is an American born in Boston, Massachusetts, went to Princeton, played for Pete Carroll, and then abandoned his NBA quest, went to Israel, played from 81 to 93 in Israel. He has an Israeli passport. Coached in Israel and Russia for a long time. His highlights have been as the head coach of the Russian national team and Andrei Karolinko. He was the head coach of the team that Messina, Moscow team, and he's really he's been a head coach almost everywhere. I'd say the one negative might be he's been a head coach almost everywhere. He seems to not be able to hang on to gigs for a particularly long time. But if you're looking for someone who knows the European game to bring them to the U.S., this might be a better choice because this is a U.S. American citizen who's got that background, hasn't lived here for quite some time, but wouldn't have nearly the culture shock. He was asked to describe himself in an old Sports Illustrated article about his coaching. There are two types of coaches, two types of people. There's macro coaches and there's micro. I'm a micro coach. I don't see the big picture during a game. It's of no interest to me. I've seen the play in front of me. He was talking the other day, witnessed Yan Zhilian of China drive the baseline, a play with no discernible effect on the game, but Blatt had conditioned his players to force players up the baseline, so he erupted. If I'm doing things in practice every day for months and months, and I'm a micro guy, what do you want me to do? He said, I don't give a damn what the score is. That's the important to me because the next time that happens, the score may not be 20, it may be 2. So I'm out there fighting for that moment, that point, and always people say to me, and it's really fair, why are you upset? I don't give a beep about the score. I want to do things right because I know to do things one thing and another thing and another thing and another thing right, you're going to win. And if you let that go, then sooner or later it's going to bite you on the butt and you're not going to win. That's how I am. Other guys, they say things macro. Oh, that's cool. I can live with that. You know what? They live longer. They sleep better. They don't get wrinkles and probably have happier lives. But what can I do? That's not the way God made me. So that's Dave Blatt. All right, 2 quick film studies today. I'm going to go to the San Antonio game for one, and then I want to show you a Toronto inbound play. This San Antonio thing's nothing that special. I just thought it was a brilliant play And it's really what you want your role players to do and how they win, how to win basketball games. And this was I thought, a key turning point in this game. I tried to cheat on the NBA last night. I tried to go watch NHL hockey, and then the NBA games kept staying to be good. So, all right, here it is. This is Dallas. It's 64-57, third quarter. Open transition opportunity. Here comes Calderon left side. Works away from the pick and roll. He's guarded by Parker. Now he's still working the left side. Swings it up top. Danny Green gambles for the steal. Monte Ellis is now going to catches and immediately is going to beat him. So Danny Green has just screwed up, right? Does he drop his head? Does he sulk? What does he do? He flips back around the backside of Monte, still gets the steal. Ball's loose. They bring it up the front court. What happens? Transition 3, Danny Green, bang, 10-point ball game. That's the type of effort you have to win playoff games. When I'm scouting film, I want to see that from a college player. That's just innate. That's just who you are. That you here, the ball is left side, throws up top. First, I kind of like the idea he went for the steal, but he missed it, and he gets back and able to strip it away, stay in the play, bury the 3, and all of a sudden we have ourselves a 10-point game. And it stays 10, heads into the fourth quarter, and San Antonio, it gets down to 8 at one point, 7 with about 5 minutes left. They take it right back to 9. The closest it got was Carter hit that 3 to make it a 4-point game. You got frankly, Nowitzki misses that shot with 2:15 left. It could have made a 2-point game, and you think there's 1 or 2 possessions where the game got closer, but that was a pretty big moment. Now, this one's going to be a little harder for me to find, but I thought I like some of these things as cool, and I'm always watching games trying to find that really cool last second play, and what ends up happening in this league is there aren't any. Everyone just runs a high pick and roll all the time. What Toronto did last night that I thought was cool, and this is going to be harder for me to find than I realized. I have my notes on what it is. Let me try to figure out how I can figure out where to find this for you. All right, let's see if this is it. And Toronto, they ran it twice. They ran a really cool out-of-bounds play. All right, this is it. I don't think this is – I'm going to have to search for another one in a second. I don't have a lot of time to do that because I got to get the kids. But this is I don't think this is the exact perfect one. But look at this. This is really cool. This is an out-of-bounds play. They're inbounding on the far side. They lined up all 4 guys on the near side with the ball on the far side. I believe this is the second one. The previous one, Roz will shoot left. Valanciunas comes over and picks for DeRozan, who gets open to get the ball. I don't think this is the one. Oh, it is. Here it is. And then there's the second pick. And now DeRozan's wide open and gets the inbound pass. I thought this was one of the better out-of-bounds timeouts that I've seen that Casey's drawn up. Let's see it again. So Ross will kind of rub off Valanciunas, take his guy to the backcourt. That you want because now you have 3 guys in here. You should be able to get the ball in bounds. And then, excuse me, and then then Valanciunas sets a monster pick on Anderson to free DeRozan. So there it is. Nice cut. Beautifully executed, actually. Ross drives the defender who's daring toward the ball, and then Valanciunas sets the pick high. DeRozan stains his man up and then comes off the second pick, boom, right there, and gets the inbound pass. I thought that was a very good execution of an inbound pass late in a ballgame. All right, guys, I've got to jump. I see there's 2 questions from Dustin Turner. I'm going to have to get him another day because I got to go get the kids. See ya.